Good morning. Today's task is to complete this wall here and to complete the tiling or to tile the top of the bath surround so that we can fit the taps. What I wanted to show you, and I'm not sure if this is going to work because Zoe's nipped out with the dog for a moment, taking her for a walk, and I'm on my own, so I'm not sure how this is going to work or if it's going to work at all. I might have to wait until Zoe comes back. Anyway, if I just remove these tiles on here, I'll be able to demonstrate what it is that I'm talking about. And again, this is something that we were umming and ahhing about and discussing, etc. Whether or not we would use the same tiles as the wall or the floor, but we've come to the decision that we're going to use the same tiles as the wall. Anyway, this front row here is in completely square and straight. So, as you can see, if I step back, you'll notice that this end, let me get my finger in, here is narrower than this end here. So what I'm having to do, and I've found actually to mark the tiles and cut them on the back with face down. So I've already done this one here and the middle one, but I wanted to show you with this one, and because it's such a slim cut, I'm using one tile to do two sections. So this one in the middle is just to represent where the tile is going. So what I do, and again I don't know if this is going to work or not, is I put the tile up where it's going to go, then I put the next one beside it in, right up against. Okay, and I put a spacer in. Now I'm not worried about this front edge, but I am worried more about the back edge. So I'll put it in and squeeze it up. Then I come across to this one that we're about to do, and we do the same again. Oops, sorry, I told you this might not work, but I shall do the best. So I'll bring it in, I put my spacer in at the back, and I pull it up tight. Okay, so we know where that tile is now going to go. I can now remove these two tiles here. So we'll take that one out and just place it over here, and the same with this one. The reason for that is so that I can see the edge of the tile here and here. Now I have to take into account the 4mm that is required for the spacer. I think they're about a 4mm spacer. So what I'll do now is put a mark where the edge of that tile is, and the same up at this end here. Okay, so we've got our marks on. Now, you have to remember that this tile is going to be flipped over, so when it does go over, the edge that the markings that we've just done are going to be incorrect. So what I do is I'll put it up on the window ledge. Oops. Okay, this is where I'm not sure it's going to work. I'll try and do it. Remember, I'm doing this one-handed. I take my multi-square, or I call it a multi-square. I take it up, hang on, I'm going to stop it here for a second. So I take the multi-square and I put the mark or the edge onto where the mark is. I then take it up to the other end. Okay. Again, this is that one-handed thing. And I put it on the edge. Then I take my pencil. Okay, and I just take it in and put the mark, a little mark as close to the edge as possible. Okay, I'm going to just stop it and do the other end, and then I'll show you the next step. And I think Zoe's back, so we might be able to show you. Okay, I've done that, and what you'll notice, if I come in closest, you'll see that there's 3 marks. There's the original mark that I did by the wall. There's the mark transferring it across from the other side, and then there's another mark. What that represents is the grout line. All I've done there is put the spacer in. Sorry, I've put the spacer in and marked it. Okay. What I'm now going to do is take the spirit level and place on those marks. Okay. And I can now take the pencil and run it across. Now you'll notice that the pencil mark, if I come down here, is slightly off. I'm not worried about that, okay, because I didn't take into account for a grout line at the wall, but it'll also give me that little bit of a leeway when I come to fit it. Because as you know, tiles are not forgiving. They don't bend, they don't move. Okay, so that's that bit. Hopefully Zoe will be up in a bit and we can continue on. So we're back again, we're downstairs. I've marked all the tiles. I've double and triple checked every measurement so that there's no mistakes when I do come to cut in. What I've got here is it's almost like a table saw, but it's for tiles. It's not a particular brand of any sort. I don't remember buying a particular brand. It was just a bigger, better one than the one I had previously, and it actually cuts really well. I'll see if I can find a link to this particular one, but I bought it 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago, so there's no guarantee. Okay, so I'm just going to move this bucket so I don't get poked up the bum again. There's not a lot of space around the house to work, so I'm working down here. So, okay, I'll turn it on. Or at least I think I will. I've made sure that there's plenty of water in and the water's flowing okay. So I'm just going to slowly take it in and double check that I'm at the right position, which I'm actually not. Okay, here we go. slow and steady. There's no need to rush. So that's the piece that I'm not keeping. That is the piece I'm keeping, if I remember right. Yeah. Okay. So the whole time I'm letting the machine do the work. As you see there, sometimes it does get a little stuck, but don't force it. Pull it back, let it go through again, and 9 times out of 10 it will work and you'll be able to continue. Okay. So how do you feel that went?
Okay. Bit hard, but okay.
Was it easier than you were expecting? Harder?
Easy, but it's hard when it gets stuck. You just gotta pull it back and go with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got on okay.
And this is your first time you've ever done it, isn't it?
Use this machine, yeah.
Okay, kind of forgot what I was going to say, but I haven't. I'm kind of trying to work out where I'm going to go with it. Okay, now you'll notice that this adhesive is slightly different to what I was using. Now, I had a few problems with doing those tiles.
With the rapid.
With A, the rapid set, and B, the particular adhesive that I was using for the floor. It worked perfect on the floor, but when it came to the walls, a few of the tiles, as I'm pointing out here, fell off. Yes, I was pushing this frame in, and one of them fell off, and I think it, you know, the vibration from that knocked the others off. But I had to get some more adhesive anyway. So I had a little chat with one of the young ladies at
Top Tiles.
And she thinks that one of two things is happening.
The heat.
The weather and the heat from the weather. And B, I was using the wrong adhesive. Now, am I going to go back and take all those tiles off and redo them? No.
Because it did say for floor and walls.
It did. And I explained this to her, and she asked me if I bought it from them, and of which we didn't. It was actually gifted to us by...
I think it was from B&Q though.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was from one of the big DIY stores.
Yeah.
Now, yes, DIY stores certainly play a part in home renovations. However, I'm not a fan of them. I much prefer to go to a specialist store. For example, the tiles. Yes, and I'll admit, both sets of tiles that we've got in this bathroom
Are from Wix.
They do have some lovely tiles, but when it comes to buying the accessories, the tools, etc., not many of them actually have the knowledge to help you. Now, I'm going to be doing a series where we actually look at the more specialist stores and what they can do to help you as a DIYer. I'm just in the process of talking to those particular people. Hopefully that will come soon. Now, she was able to tell me that I needed a flexible adhesive
to do even the floor and the walls.
Yeah.
In here and the ensuite floor.
And the ensuite.
Because they're a stone tile for the floor.
Well, when we get to
the ensuite.
Doing the ensuite, we'll talk you right the way through that. But I'm hoping that this particular adhesive will do the job that I want it to. Okay. That's clever of me. She also said, and this was another thing that I hadn't thought of, I might have been doing the adhesive too dry. So what I've done this time is I've actually added a little extra water to the adhesive. So we'll see if that makes a difference. And actually coming, just doing the spreading the adhesive here, it's been a lot easier just by adding a tad more water. But I was going by the instructions that are on the packet, and I kept thinking to myself that it feels too dry.
It's a bit like when you did the levelling compound on the floor.
Yeah.
What it says on the packet and what you read up on the internet.
And what actually works are three different things. So one of the biggest tips I can give you, I don't care if you're somebody who is an avid DIYer and you're quite advanced like myself and Zoe, or you're somebody who's just starting out, don't be afraid to ask questions when you're buying the products. Don't be afraid to research every aspect. The one thing for us that we've had to do more research on than anything else is not doing the job, is actually making sure that we are meeting the BS standards and that we are also in compliance with building regs. Now, the building regs change all the time. Even more so since Grenville than any other, as they should. But you do still have to, especially if you're, doing a project like us and it's taking time. I mean, I'll give you an example. We have been doing this project now for, what are we in, our 10th, 11th year?
No, 10th.
10th year doing this. And it does take time. The reason it's taking time for us,
because we're not getting into debt.
We're not prepared to take out any loans. Yes, we probably should have saved, but we know what our own habits are. We like dining out too much. We like shopping at the supermarkets too much. So we knew that the only way that we would be able to do this is to do it piece by piece as and when we've got the money. But yeah, so we're 10 years in, and I think we've got another 2-3 years to go.
Yeah.
For full completion. Because we've got the garden to complete,
The drive to complete,
an extension to put on, which will house the permanent kitchen. Because we both feel that the size of this property, the kitchen that we've got, is just not suitable for it. So we need to add that. The other thing we're adding is a downstairs bathroom.
Or utility.
And a utility room.
And the cloakroom to put all the accessories in.
Yes. Mudroom,
Yeah,
I think the Americans call it. But we've got to go through the design and planning application in order to do that. No, I won't be taking the advice or using the expertise of a architect. I want to do that myself as an interior designer. I'm quite capable of drawing up a set of plans,
like you did for up here.
And actually, the entire of the house that we've done here, I have designed the layout for it with Zoe's help. Okay, another thing I should point out here is the bath is very square. The walls are not by any stretch of the imagination. So in order for this to work, what I'm doing is overlapping the tile over the edge of the bath. And then what I'm going to do is either fill that with silicone or find something that I can put in behind here. What I might well do is put some form of filler in behind here, something flexible, and then put a small bead of silicone. But unfortunately the bath has to come out later on in order for us to finish off the plumbing that's required, the drainage and the water. Don't be afraid as well to push the tile down, because sometimes, there we go, one in there, one in there, there we go. Run your fingers over as well, that will give you a good indication on whether or not Sorry, I do apologise about that. Right, we're almost there. Well, we're certainly getting there. The other thing, and I've mentioned it before, and I'll be able to demonstrate this in a moment when we do the tile on the back. Always make sure that when you're cutting a tile, the cut face is either to the wall or some way that that edge is not going to be seen or not as noticeable. Now I'm not too worried because we can have a tile on the back here, and there'll also be some silicone that will run around the corners to prevent the water coming into the back if splashing. I know Zoe and I won't be splashing about, but I can't say the same for either Carly or Shaylee. Children will be children, and to be honest, I wouldn't want them any other way. Would you?
No.
If you know that your tile at the front is right, but the gap at the back doesn't seem right, don't be afraid to just tweeze it away from the wall a little. Just so it is right. Okay. Like so. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is the 3 tiles that run along.
Yeah,
the
once
back
you put
here.
across in that piece.
Yes, dear. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Okay.
What would you do without me?
Have a party. Right. I think the next thing to do is for me to get these tiles on at the back here.
Yeah.
And then bring you back, because otherwise you're going to get bored, and I wouldn't blame you.